Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Samsung Galaxy S3, the US versions. Now the ones we have here are the AT&T and Sprint versions. They're all four major carriers going to have the same exact handset in terms of design, except for the brandings in the rear. And versus the international version, they sport the same design, but the internal components have been modified. Of course, gone is the quad-core processor of the international version. Instead, the US versions get a dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor, and they're also outfitted with LTE connectivity. Now we're getting exactly when these guys are going to be launched or pricing, but it's going to be soon, and of course more than likely $200 2-year contract, and we're going to find out how these guys stack up against some of the cream of the crop US devices out there. So this time around, Samsung opted to go with a uniform approach with the design of the Samsung Galaxy S3 for the US. All four major carriers have the same exact looking devices. Even the US cellular one looks exactly alike to the European version that we saw not too long ago. Inspired by nature, it has a polycarbonate body, hyperglaze finish, which gives a really good, comfortable feel in the hand. You know, not as slippery. Nice curves all around, make it very easy to hold, though it is a little bit in the larger size, so it's hard to use it or operate it with one hand. Nevertheless, decent build quality, very streamlined, lightweight, all the qualities you'd want out of a high-end smartphone. Kind of question its build quality just because with the AT&T version, we kind of noticed the top cover here kind of doesn't want to snap shut. It's not too much of a problem with the Sprint version. It's pretty much closed out. But overall, an appealing looking handset nonetheless, but nothing really a dramatic departure from anything else out there. Nowadays, super large HD displays are pretty common amongst high-end smartphones, so it doesn't have that much of a profound effect here on the Samsung Galaxy S3. It's a 4.8-inch HD Super AMOLED panel, so it's 720 by 1280 pixels. Yes, it does use a pentile matrix arrangement, but nevertheless, it's hardly negligible. It still looks pretty sharp and detailed. You really don't notice it from a good distance away. And on top of that, saying that it's a Super AMOLED panel, it has all those qualities that we love about it. It has those saturated colors, wide viewing angles, high brightness output, so it's very easy on the eyes. It might not be the most accurate looking thing in terms of color reproduction, but nevertheless, it has that attraction that really captures the attention of people, and overall, it's still pleasing to look at. Below the display, you have the dedicated home button. You press it once to get to the home button. You press it twice to activate the S Voice application. And you do a long press to get the task manager. And you have these capacitive buttons on the left and right side. The menu button and also the back button. It has this really nice glow to it, so it definitely captures your attention in the dark. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, you have the front-facing 1.9 megapixel camera. You have the light and proximity sensors. You have your earpiece. And right over here, you can't see it, they have an LED light there for notifications. Around the sides of the handset, you have the raised volume controls right here and has a really good tactile feel. 3.5mm headset jack and the noise cancellation microphone. The dedicated power button, which is a little bit more flat to the touch and the response isn't as great. And finally, the micro USB port for charging data connectivity. You have to use a special MHL adapter to gain video out, and you also have the microphone right there. In the rear, you have an 8 megapixel autofocus camera, the ability to shoot 1080p videos with that, a single LED flash, you have the speaker grill right there. Lastly, prying off the rear cover, you could just do that by just pulling it apart from the top here. We gain access to a 2100 mAh battery, the micro SD card slot, and the micro SIM slot. So the US versions of the Galaxy S3, the software experience is the same exact one found with the European model. Nothing different about it except for the fact that out of the box, both handsets here, the AT&T Sprint ones that we're checking out, they have the same exact applications except for the carrier apps. You have things like the AT&T Navigator, My AT&T app on the AT&T version, whereas on the Sprint one, you have Sprint Hotspot and Sprint Zone, but everything else is completely the same. It's running the Samsung TouchWiz Nature UX right on top of Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich, so the latest and greatest in both camps. A big departure versus previous TouchWiz devices, and we've already gotten to great detail in our review of the European version, so if you want to learn more about it, you can check that out. We'll just highlight some of the cool stuff with this guy. So one of the cool features about the Samsung Galaxy S3 is these things called tactiles you could buy from a carrier store. A 5-pack goes for $14.99. It's basically these sticker thingies which have an NFC chip inside of them, layered on one side, and you could use the smartphone here to do a variety of different functions. You have to download the application called Samsung Tactiles, which is free in the Google Play, and there are four main options you could program these tactiles. You could do settings and applications, which allow you to do things like change the phone phone settings, join a network, show a message. You could do phone and text functions to make a phone call, send a text message, share a contact. You could do location, you could check into Foursquare or Facebook. You could be social, you could like something, tweet something. And in our case here, we just programmed this guy to open up an application, which is Twitter. So all you gotta do is just scan it, like so. And voila, it opens up the application. It has a lot of practical uses, and it's going to be interesting to see what else developers can make use out of these tactiles and NFC in general. Another really cool feature about the Samsung Galaxy S3 is the S-Beam functionality. You could transfer content from one device to another very quickly thanks to NFC. So for example, let's say we have this video, this really large file here on one phone. We want to transfer it to the other one. Very easily done. So all you gotta do is just put the phones back to back. You hear the sound, and you'll see in the one handset it says they're touch to beam. Press that. It'll tell you to put them apart, and from there it'll start the process of actually beaming over the one file to the other handset. And it's pretty easy, very painless, hassle-free, and it's pretty quick too. This is a 177 megabyte file, and you can see it's already 15% of the way done, and it's just very nice with that functionality. The pop-up play feature with the Samsung Galaxy S3 allows you to watch a video that's stored locally in the handset at any time on top of other applications. We'll show you that here. So for example, go to Gallery. We have a video that we're watching, or is stored on the handset itself. We're watching it right now, so it's playing. Unless you want to do another thing, you could just press the button right here. It pops it up to a different thing, and it stays there. It's layered on top of whatever we're doing. And we could go either to, for example, go to the calendar, we could do our thing, we could still watch it. We could even open up an application here, for example, Google Maps, and we could do that as well. So a lot of cool functionality with that. Has some practical uses. It doesn't work with things like YouTube. It has to be something that's stored locally, though. When it comes to typing of messages, of course, the preferred option here is just the portrait style, just because it's very easy for our fingers to encompass. When we use the landscape one, of course, a little bit widespread, so a little bit difficulty getting to the edges of the layout here. But it's pretty responsive, quick, and you also have some swipe-like aspects to it, just because that's part of what the Samsung keyboard incorporates. Pretty much all the US versions of the Samsung Galaxy S3 are going to have support for LTE, except for T-Mobile. T-Mobile is the only one's going to have HSPA Plus connectivity. But the one here with AT&T, we're very happy with the web browsing performance. You could tell very quick and responsive, both with kinetic scrolling, pinch zooming. It doesn't stutter even with flash content loaded. It maintains a really nice responsive rate. And in terms of raw data speeds on AT&T, we managed to get as fast as 54 megabits per second down and 12 megabits per second up. So it is extremely fast, and overall we're very happy with the web browsing experience on this phone. Honestly, Samsung could have worked on the music player on the handset, just because it's the same old TouchWiz music experience that we've seen in other handsets. As far as just the visuals go, the presentation kind of lackluster, nothing really compelling about it. Usual fanfare with your track information, your on-screen controls. You have an equalizer setting here to better fine-tune the audio quality. At the latter setting, the handset tends to sound just a little bit on the sharp side, so rather irritating. A couple notches makes it a little bit more pleasant. And on top of that, they have this other mode here, which is Music Square, which allows you to tag music depending on your mood. So it's a little bit different, but as far as the core experience, we're seeing a little bit more polish with the presentation. Naturally, the handset's such a sight to behold when you're watching high-definition videos, thanks to its HD Super AMOLED panel. Definitely very pleasing to the eyes. Large display, nice vibrant colors. It moves swiftly. The video we have here is encoded in DivX, 1920 by 1080 resolution. You could tell moving very fluidly, no slowdown or lag, and lots of nice details, so it's very pleasing to the eyes. In a familiar mood, just like we saw with the HTC One X here in the US, the Samsung Galaxy S3 US versions are getting a dual-core processor. It's a 1.5 GHz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor. So instead of a quad-core, it is a dual-core, but the RAM has been increased up to 2 GB as they mentioned here. In terms of just general performance, we're happy to say it doesn't really lag. Every now and then you might see just a little bit of hint of slowdown, but nothing really detrimental. It's very quick and responsive, and if we execute, something that's a little more processor intensive, for example, let's just use live wallpaper here. It maintains its fluidity, its operation, and doesn't slow down one bit. So we're still happy that it's still packing a dual-core processor. It's more than effective. The benchmark scores might not be as commanding versus the quad-core one, but nevertheless, it's about the actual performance, the real-world performance that counts. And so far, we're very happy with it. With its mighty size 8-megapixel autofocus camera, the Samsung Galaxy S3 delivers some acceptable looking shots. They're not the sharpest out there, or nor are they the most muddiest, but has a well-mixed balance to make it more than usable for most occasions. It excels in outdoor scenery and also macro shots, delivering some natural looking colors. Pretty balanced, though with brightly lit stuff, it tends to overexpose certain things, and in low lighting conditions, you do notice more noise, grainy looks to the appearance, but the LED flash does a decent job illuminating scenery, but tends to cast a very cooler color reproduction, but as a whole, still more than usable. Likewise, the 1080p high-definition video recording of the Samsung Galaxy S3 fares pretty good too. Not the sharpest thing out there, nor is it the muddiest again, but it's more than usable for most case needs. It shoots at 29 frames per second, so very smooth, barely any lag or slowdown. Colors are pretty nice, natural looking, good details. Though in low lighting conditions, again, you notice some noise. Strangely though, with the anti-shake feature on, it tends to have this jerky move, which is kind of weird. And also the feature is continuous autofocus, so everything will be nice and sharp, and overall, more than usable. Overall, we're pleased by the handset's calling quality. It delivers pretty distinctive loud voices on both ends of the line. The earpiece, no background noise or whatsoever. And switch to using the speakerphone, again, it is a little bit sharp sound, but at least we're able to make out voices with relative ease. We didn't have any issues in terms of signal strength with the handset, both in LTE network and standard HSP+. We're able to get phone calls, no problems. It didn't drop anything, and it didn't fluctuate during our time using it. Of course, the handset's 2100 mAh battery is more than effective in giving us at least one solid day of normal usage. Even heavy usage, we easily manage to get through the day too. Light users, you could expect, probably gets close to 2 days out of its battery. However, though, when we tested out under LTE connectivity, we did notice that the battery drain was significantly faster, so you probably want to limit your time with web surfing when you're connected via LTE. So just like before, the US version of the Samsung Galaxy S3 smartphone is very compelling in many reasons. Of course, the design might not be as awe-inspiring when you compare things like the Nokia Lumia 900, and the hardware specs are pretty much in line to any other high-end device out there. Granted, it sheds the quad-core of the international version, instead opts for the dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor. That's fine though, just because it performs on the same level here. No degradation with its overall performance. And on top of that, you have LTE connectivity, so you have fast data speeds with certain versions of the handset. But it's absolutely just the experience here, the TouchWiz Nature UX experience, that really stands out apart of everything else. You have things like the S-Beam functionality, the group cast feature, you have the S-Voice for your voice recognition stuff, and just a host of other things that really make it a complete experience. I would definitely like what Samsung has done with it. By far what stands out most with the Galaxy S3. And for $200 2-year contract, it's very befitting of any high-end device out there. You'll definitely like the well-balanced approach of the handset, and overall it's still something you want to take a look at if you're considering a top-shelf smartphone. So if you'd like to learn more about the Samsung Galaxy S3, the US versions, guys, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. As always, thanks for watching.